Flights to India can get really expensive, especially if you're booking non-stop or business class. But if you've got credit card points, you don't have to pay that. You can book the same flights for way fewer points and just a fraction of the cost in taxes and fees. So today I'm walking you through 5 different airline programs that you can use to book your flights to India using credit card points. I'll share with you the prices, show you exactly how the booking process looks like, and also give you my honest take on whether I really think it's worth it or not. So let's get into it. Let's start with Avianca Life Miles. So Avianca is a part of the Star Alliance network. That means you can find Star Alliance partners on it like Air India or United, both of which fly non-stops from the US to India. So think San Francisco, JFK, Newark to Delhi or Mumbai. So here we'll start with an example from SFO to New Delhi, and even though it's not a non-stop flight, there is one stop in between. I wanted to give you an idea of the pricing. So if you look at the economy pricing, it's at 55,000 life miles along with $32.20 in taxes and fees. And for business class, you will have to shell out 90,000 life miles. And since this is a domestic stop, I think you will not be flying business class on the first leg, but the longer leg, which is the non-stop from EWR to Delhi, is where they'll fly you on business class. But overall, honestly, I think it's not bad for a non-stop to India because cash fares can go pretty high. Now let's take a quick example for EWR to New Delhi on United Airlines. So this is a non-stop flight, like you can see. And the economy price for this one is about 55,000 miles plus $50. Unfortunately, when I was looking, I could not find business class fares with United. But I think if you look closely, you will definitely find all these economy fares. And lastly, we have this JFK to New Delhi flight that I looked up on Avianca. It's a non-stop flight again. And this one actually flies the A350-900, which is the newer, fancier cabin from Air India. So I think the experience is overall going to be better. I know Air India is not everybody's first choice, but I think from JFK and EWR, you can still get good planes. So this is what the pricing is going to look like. And I will say that when you are trying to fly around peak time, so let's say in December around the holidays, that's when you see really high cash fares. And this is when these fixed points pricing actually becomes very helpful and very valuable all of a sudden. So definitely keep that in mind. So with economy pricing, it is achievable, but the math kind of changes with business class flights because it's higher in cash fares, obviously, and most of us would not like to pay that. But even on points, I think you still have to shell out 180K per person round trip. And if you're traveling as a family or as a couple, you might not have that many points sitting around. So something to keep in mind for business class fares. By the way, you're not limited to Air India or United if you want to book through Avianca Life Miles. There are actually other Star Alliance partners that will pop up when you try to search your destination. So when I was searching mine, I saw Lufthansa pop up. So that means that you can book economy or business class flight on Lufthansa as well. So something to keep in mind if you want to fly a different carrier. Now with Avianca Life Miles, I do want to warn you that the website can get a little glitchy. It's not the most user-friendly website that you'll come across. And if, God forbid, the airline cancels your flight, you will have to go through some hassle of calling Avianca and talking to their customer service representatives to change around your flights, which is a bit of a hassle, but I think you can overall manage it. Just wanted to give you a word of caution. Let's talk about what credit card points you can use to book on Avianca website. And the good news is that most of the credit card currencies will transfer to Avianca Life Miles. So you can transfer your Amex, Chase, Citi, Bilt, Capital One, and even Wells Fargo points to Avianca. So you'll definitely not be hard-pressed for choices here. And if you are able to take advantage of a transfer bonus running at the time, I think that's when you start to squeeze real value out of your points. Next up is my absolute favorite airline program. This is Air Canada's Aeroplan. This program is awesome. It is solid. The website always works. It's predictable. So I have used it multiple times to book airlines like Air India, United, Air Canada, and also Lufthansa. So when you search for flights on Air Canada's website, you're going to see Star Alliance partners like Air India and United. And of course, you'll also see Air Canada flights. The only thing is that Air Canada flights will more often than not connect somewhere on a Canadian airport. So just need to keep that in mind. If that fits your plans, then maybe that pricing will also work out. Okay, so let's discuss the pricing for Air Canada's Aeroplan. And I have an example up here for San Francisco to New Delhi. It's not a non-stop flight. It does have a stop in Kolkata. But like you can see here, there is economy, business, and first class fares available. But the number of seats that you are seeing here is only 2 seats for economy and one for business and first. So this is something that I have also noticed on Air India award flights, that you'll only find 1 seat on business class and 1 seat in first class. So if you're traveling with a companion, this may not be an ideal selection for you. However, traveling on economy can still be possible because of the 2 seats available here. But yes, looking at the pricing, it's 55,000 points and 84 Canadian dollars, which is about $50 US. And same pricing in terms of taxes and fees for business and first. So the taxes and fees across the 3 categories are the same. What's different is the points that you're paying. And if you're curious as to what aircraft you'll be flying, you can just go to the details tab. And from there, you'll see all the details here. So this will be a Boeing 777-300ER. So it's not their latest A350-900. For that, you will need to fly out of JFK or EWR. And then I also searched New York JFK to Delhi, for which there is a non-stop flight on Air India that I could find. And this is the one that flies the A350-900. There is no business class seat available for the day that I'm looking for, but there are 2 economy seats available. So you can just play around on Air Canada's award search tool and you can see what flights are available for what dates. But I also wanted to show you quickly how it looks for Air Canada flights. So this one is an Air Canada operated flight that goes from New York to Delhi, but it makes a stop at YYZ. So that is Toronto Airport. And you can see the pricing here is 68.9, so 68,900 miles for economy and 54 Canadian dollars. And the price goes way up for business and premium economy. So Air Canada is not the best to book using Air Canada miles, and that's why Star Alliance partners are actually your best bet. For credit card points transfers to Air Canada, you have quite a few options. So all your major ones like Amex, Capital One, Bilt, and Chase transfer directly at a 1-to-1 ratio to Air Canada, which is great. But Air Canada actually also has their own co-branded cards with Chase that can get you Aeroplan miles. If you spot a transfer bonus to Air Canada's Aeroplan with Chase or any other credit card company, I would urge you to take advantage because that can bring your price way down. So in case of business class, if it's a 90,000 point flight otherwise, you will only be paying 75,000 points one way. So it starts to make sense and you can really see some savings if you start stacking with the transfer bonus. By the way, this is how I booked Air India's newest cabin on their A350 to fly to India last year. And if you're curious about how that looks, I've actually done a video on that I'll link up here and in the description box below, so do check it out. Number 3 is Virgin Atlantic. This one is a little different because it's a part of a different alliance called SkyTeam, which is different from Star Alliance, and it does not have partners like Air India or United. So you will not find non-stop flights on Virgin Atlantic. But I still like this one because the service on board and whatever they have to offer and the points price is actually pretty solid. Okay, so we are searching here a flight from JFK to New Delhi, and it does come with one change. Typically, the layover will be in London because the airline is based out of England. But if you start looking at the prices here, that's when it really starts to shine. Look at the economy classic pricing. It's only 12,000 points. And then premium economy is only 22,000 points. Upper class, which is their business class, is kind of ridiculous at 700,000 points. So we are not going to consider that for now. But yes, I also wanted to point you to the downside here, which is the taxes and fees. So far, what we've seen with Avianca and Air Canada, the taxes and fees were very minimal. So, $50, $80, $30. But over here, you will have to pay about $250 for an economy flight. And this is one way. and then $475 on premium economy. So I think it's kind of like a balancing act here because the prices look high. At the same time, I think I find premium economy to be a sweet spot because I recently flew it from New Delhi to JFK and really enjoyed the service. I paid about $350 for that and absolutely did not mind paying that much for the kind of service that I got. One great thing about Virgin Atlantic is that throughout the year, some or the other credit card issuer will be offering a transfer bonus to Virgin, which means the flights that are already as low as 12,000 points can actually look much lower if you are getting, say, a 20 to 30% transfer bonus. That's exactly how I booked my flight. So I had transferred at, I think, about 40% from Amex a while ago, and the flight's original price was at 21,000 points. So I saved 40% on that. So I basically just paid cash for flying premium economy. Virgin points again are super easy to transfer. You can transfer points from Amex, Bilt, Chase, Citi, and even Wells Fargo to Virgin. So that makes this program super accessible. Next up is Turkish Airlines Miles and Smiles program. This one is another Star Alliance member, so you will be able to find Air India, United, along with Turkish Airlines on their website. So now this program used to be amazing. It honestly was known as the sweet spot for booking Star Alliance business class flights. As a matter of fact, last year, before they devalued their program, I was able to transfer my Bilt points to Turkish to book Air India business class that I flew to India earlier this year. And now it's been devalued so bad that even economy you cannot find for 52,000 miles. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so this is JFK to New Delhi that I've searched on Turkish Airlines website. And this is a non-stop flight like you can see here. And when I look at the total, it is costing me 60,000 miles along with 34 USD in taxes and fees. Now, this is kind of comparable to what we've seen with Avianca and Air Canada, on which we can actually find prices as low as 47,000 for a Star Alliance flight. So I wouldn't say that this should be your go-to option, but I think when cash fares are not making sense, there might be a case where you can make sense of this 60,000 miles and 34 US dollar fare. Also taking a quick look at business class flight here. So the business class on the same flight is going to cost you 100,000 miles and 35 USD. So again, it's kind of similar to, only a little bit higher than the one that we saw on Avianca and Air Canada. But I will say that if there's a transfer bonus running, which there is right now, this can actually quickly become super valuable. So with Turkish, I did want to say that the website is not super easy to navigate, especially if you're trying to book Star Alliance partner awards. But yes, let's talk about the credit card points that transfer to Turkish. And that is also kind of limited because only Capital One, Citi, and Bilt are the programs that transfer directly to Turkish Airlines. The good news, however, is that Citi is running a 50% transfer bonus to Turkish Airlines right now, which means the business class flight that we saw for 100K points is actually going to cost you only 50K points, which is a super amazing deal. So if there's a transfer bonus like that running, I would definitely use Turkish. But other than that, it's more of a backup option for me. It's definitely not my go-to program because you can find cheaper award fares at other programs. And finally, at number 5, we have United Mileage Plus. This is another Star Alliance partner, so we will be able to use this program to book Star Alliance flights on Air India and some other interesting partners like Lufthansa. So United actually has non-stops from Newark to New Delhi and Mumbai. And if you want to fly United from, say, SFO, you will likely be connecting at Newark before you get to Delhi or Mumbai. So just something to keep in mind, it will be a domestic layover, which is not the worst. And it can get you very similar pricing. So definitely something to consider. But here's the thing with pricing. Economy pricing with United Mileage Plus will usually be the best deal for you because business class flights I have seen were kind of outrageously priced. So let's take a quick look. All right, so I have looked up a direct flight from Newark to New Delhi, and this is a non-stop flight on the United Boeing 787 Dreamliner. And like you can see, for economy premium and business, the cash tax and fee are pretty low. But looking at the points, we'll see that on economy, it's only 41.6k miles, which I think is a decent price. And it's been the lowest so far, barring Virgin. It's been the lowest so far from the programs that we have seen. And then there is premium economy. This one is at 78,400 miles. Again, it's not the worst, but I think it's kind of overpriced. Now, when you look at business class, that's when you can see that it's kind of high. This is all one-way pricing, and it's almost 180k points one way. So I would definitely not want to book this business class, but economy I would definitely consider. So I looked up one more itinerary here on United. This was SFO to Bangalore with a stop in Munich, and this one is actually on Lufthansa. And like you can see, the economy pricing is giving you 70% because you're a card member. So that brings the pricing to only 45k miles one way with $30 in taxes and fees, which is totally not bad. So this is one thing to remember for United card members. If you have a card, you're going to get this special pricing on select flights. There's no pattern to it. You just see it. Sometimes it'll pop up when you start searching about flights. But given the kind of discounts that I'm getting with my Explorer card, which is this 70% off, I think it's an amazing deal. And with that, actually, I wanted to show you one more deal. This is EWR to New Delhi again, but I did want to look at another option besides United. So I looked up this Lufthansa flight, and what caught my attention was actually the business class fare here. So like you can see, it's only 80,000 miles and $56 in taxes and fees. And this card member thing is getting me 66% off the original price of 235k miles on a business class. And with this, actually, I get to fly two business class. So the first one is a United Polaris that gets me to Frankfurt. And from Frankfurt to New Delhi, it's a Lufthansa business class. So if you're getting to try, two business class cabins for this price, I would definitely not mind it. And this is the price that I would pay. It's much lower than what we saw with Air Canada as well as Avianca. So I would say always compare your options and choose the best that works for you. But here's the thing with United. Right now, you cannot transfer any other points besides Bilt or Chase to United. But that said, you can actually get United's own co-branded credit cards that it has with Chase and earn those points to spend on the airline. But yes, those are all your options. Overall, I think it's pretty solid for these simple, straightforward redemptions. So there you have it. These were the 5 programs that I always check before I fly to India to book the best flight possible and spend the least amount of points. So I hope you liked it. And if you found this helpful, please let me know in the comments. If you book any of these other flights, please let me know in the comments as well. And if you need step-by-step walkthroughs of any of these programs that we talked about, also drop a comment. I'll make a video on that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.